Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the We Are Not Lonely podcast. So, today's topic is going to be a bit of a departure from the previous things. I did promise last week that I was going to stop being so negative, and today's topic is going to reflect that because I'm going to be talking about the stock market. Specifically, about the differences between trading and investing. But let's take it like this is going to be my story of what I experienced while trading/investing in the stock market. Okay, so let's start from the top. Why am I speaking about this particular topic? Well, one, I realized that like the past couple of weeks my topics have been becoming increasingly kind of negative. I was let's just say I was using this podcast to vent, and well, technically I was using it to explore certain ideas, and in the end I just started venting. I just started shitting on those topics. I wanted to do something different, and as a result, I decided to do this. So why did this particular thing happen? Well, recently, this morning, I found out that one of my family members just lost a great deal of money on the stock market. And it got me thinking, right? So my mom asked me, like, how much money did you lose in the stock market? Now, I know exactly how much I lost. I lost 8,400 rupees net. And this happened in 2021. And after that, I stopped, right? And this happened, I think, sometime June. Sometime that time. And I was like, you know what? I am done. I was doing a lot of trading in the year of 2021, right? I stopped. And one of the reasons was because I realized that I wasn't being disciplined. I was being extremely undisciplined, and I decided, hey, you know what? I think I should stop, dude. This is not cool, right? And so I did. Now, what is my background and why am I talking about this? Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is just me relating my story and of what I experienced in the stock market and why I stopped, right? So far, so good. So let's go. Sometime in 2021, I started getting interested in the stock market again. This was, of course, the second year of the pandemic, and being stuck at home with a great deal of, well, not that much time, but with little extra time in my hands, I started wondering about different ways to start earning income, right? I wanted to explore multiple avenues of income generation. So one of the things I decided and I realized I could try out was the stock market, because I do have some experience in it, because I studied it back when I did my MBA, but I didn't really, focus on it post that, which is on me, to be honest, because that would have ensured that I had a decent amount of experience if I kept acting on the immediate knowledge that I had received at that time. That's incidentally one of the most important things about learning. You need to have this timed intervals. Yeah. So you need to bring the memories, you need to bring the information back to your head at random intervals. And that's actually good, right? So anyway, what happened was I started trading. I ended up being extremely undisciplined. I did my due diligence. I did a decent amount of study. And I kept a trade journal as well. Okay? So I did what I had to do, but at the same time, I got a little carried away, and that is how I lost my money, right? Of course, I didn't lose all of it in a single day. Some days were green, some days were red, but overall, I ended up with more red than green. And after one fine day, I decided, I think this is getting out of hand. I think I should stop, because I was breaking a lot of the rules that I had decided to follow, right? And I'm literally on the 16th of June, which is one of my worst trading days ever, I immediately noted down what went wrong, because at that point in time, I was journaling pretty much on a daily basis. And looking back, it's very obvious, right? So I got greedy. I traded outside the frame, the time frame that I had set for myself. I did not use a stop loss, which is a big freaking mistake. I refused to book a loss on a single trade. If I had, I would have ended up with a lot less. I was trading while I was extremely damn distracted. And all of these factors led me to lose about 3,000 rupees in a single trade, right? And I also panicked, obviously, when I saw the big red numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I made some dumb calls, and yeah. At this point in time, I was studying about trading from a trader on YouTube. His name was Siddharth Bhanushali. I had actually used his trading techniques, and I had made a decent amount of money. So I think my highest ever green in a single day was 1,334.35 rupees. That was actually a trade that I had. That was actually $1,000 on a single trade, and trading on that day earned me. Day trading on that particular day earned me 334. I made $1,000 on a single trade, but that was what do you call it? A weekly investment thing. Like I would trade every week, or weekly trading, swing trading. Yeah. See how I've forgotten most of these terminologies, because at this point I haven't really done much trading. I've decided to switch to investing, right? Because I guess like I'm more into investing, at the very least, I just want to park. I like a particular company. I'm not going to mention which company, but I've been following this company since 2017, and I was like, hey, you know what? I like this company, and I kept talking about it, and I decided back in 21 and 2022 that, you know what? I like this company. I might as well go ahead and buy its shares. Done, set, and that's what I did. So now what I've decided is I like this particular company. I want to stock excuse me. I want to purchase as much stock as I can of it. And slowly, as my knowledge on investment and holding grows, I will, diversify my portfolio, but I've decided that I will only purchase the stock of certain companies that I personally believe in. That's what I've been doing recently. And it's been going quite good. Honestly, like, I just took a small amount of money. It's not that much. I took about, I invested 9K, exactly 9,000 rupees in a particular stock. Again, like, I barely own like 4 I own exactly 4 shares, right? But the thing is, I like this company. I decided whenever possible, I will save up and I will purchase the stock whenever, when I see it in the red. And I didn't want to regret it, because I've seen this stock shoot up from when I first started monitoring this particular stock. It was around 700, and now it's well over $2,000, right? So this is a 5-year time frame, but that's a pretty decent, shall we say, shoot up in the share price. Yeah. So what brought about this whole thing? So the entire thing was basically during the pandemic, I started trading because I needed something to do. And one of the reasons I decided to stop was, like I said, I was not using a stop loss, and I wasn't calling trades, as it were. I wasn't doing my due diligence. I got distracted. See, the thing was that trading was supposed to be a thing that I kept aside. I was supposed to look through this share market. I would look through stock and analyze a few charts every evening, note if there were any good stocks, and then if I did find them, if they fulfilled my criteria, I would purchase them the next day, depending on what I had planned, whether it was going to be a swing trade or just a day trade, right? That was the initial idea. However, I got distracted. I got greedy, which is, again, these are things like trading in the stock market is a huge psychological thing. You need to be extremely disciplined. It's more about discipline and sticking to the trade than it is about getting lucky, which is why most Indians don't really understand that, like, the stock market isn't gambling. That is, if you know about it, but it does become gambling if you decide to gamble, if you decide to do things like an idiot. I hope you get what I'm trying to say there, right? So if you do your due diligence, if you study the topic and you know what you're doing, you have a strategy, you have an entry point, you have an exit point, you know your stop loss, and you stick to that diligently, You have this is called trading with a strategy. If you have a strategy and you diligently stick to this particular strategy and you trade purely according to your strategy, right? Exiting when the strat tells you to exit. All right. You need ideally this strat works out like 50 to 60% of the time. We're not looking for 100% perfect freaking strat, but it needs to win the majority of the time, right? The majority. And if you stay consistent and you keep calling the good trades, that's when you start making money. And I know this works, and I know the strat works because I did that. I had this one particular 2-week swing trade that I called perfectly. I stuck my guns. It didn't touch my stop loss. And I exited where I planned to exit, and it worked. And that's when I made like $1,000. And I got carried away. I guess I got greedy, like I said, right? Oh, I'm a hotshot trader now. Look at me. I made $1,000 on a single trade. I ignored the time frame, like an idiot. So, what I'm saying is, this bit is advice, not financial advice, but advice nevertheless, right? Don't be an idiot. Don't be greedy. Stick to the time frame that you decided on. Don't sit and stare at the computer the entire day. You're not going to get money that way, dude. Just looking at up, 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 down, down, down. Believe in your freaking strat, right? That's what you're supposed to do. And ideally, you have very few trades. Your trade book is supposed to be, your trade journal is supposed to be neat, clean. It's supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I didn't do that, and I realized that a couple of months in. At this point, I had lost 8,400 rupees, and until that point, I was doing pretty good. I was on a streak of green. I guess I got cocky, started ignoring the things. And on this one particular day, that day I made my single highest loss. Obviously, now the thing was, I decided to put a certain amount of money into this. And when I first started, I was doing all of this without any idea what I was doing, right? But then I spent my time studying about it. I adopted. I didn't develop a strategy. I adopted a particular strategy. I did some more studies, right? And I kept doing that. Now I'm just studying the stock market and investing, right? So this is my journey from being a day trader to becoming an investor, and the reason why I'm doing it so far, right? One of the reasons was it was interrupting my daily thing. I would just go onto the trading terminal and stare at the numbers. Oh, green. Oh, red. That was affecting my ability to work on my other projects. And at this point in time, this was supposed to be like a side thing, but eventually it started taking over most of my day. That was another reason that I decided to stop, along with the the monetary loss. There was a huge loss in time because I wasn't being disciplined enough, right? So yeah, that's the thing. What's the difference between trading and investing, right? So ideally, there are different time frames essentially. Investing is you decide to hold a portfolio, usually for a longer period of time, and depending on your financial goals, you choose certain stock. Maybe you're looking for growth. Depending on your financial goals, you choose certain stock and you put them in your portfolio. You pick up certain stock and put them in your portfolio. Now, what are these financial goals? One, you could be looking at growth. Like, you pick a stock that shows excellent growth opportunity and you're like, okay, this seems like a good thing. So generally, investment means like, you're holding it for at least a year, right? That's a definition of a long-term investment. At that point, this is me looking at capital gains, right? I've invested a certain amount of money in a company for years, and if I do want to sell it and make some money and park it somewhere else, I do so at another time, right? So this is one of the things that I learned was that Warren Buffett does something similar. So he looks at companies that he likes, that he believes in, and he's like investing in the company. He's like, oh, I want to be a partner to this company, and he holds stock for a very long time. Now I'm not going to get into the mechanics of all of this, right? I've spoken about several books that you can read in the podcast where I spoke about money. This is just me vibing and speaking about all of this. So, generally speaking, investing is for a longer time period, right? Trading, on the other hand, there are different things. Like you could look at there are different time frames, and depending on the time frame, it's categorized as certain things according to certain traders. So what I was initially doing was I was doing this ultra short time frame. I was trading for 1 hour between opening up to that is from 9:15, 9:30 up to 10:30, right? So I would the initially I would spend about 1 hour. I'd go in, I'd make my money, I'd come out. And this strat actually worked really well for me initially because I was planning which stock to buy based on the movements on the previous day, right? But like I said, I got cocky. So this is one of the things, or you could trade. So all of this is like day trading. What I was doing was like a hourly trading thing. Right. There are some people who sit in front of the terminal the entire day. That's pretty much at that point that becomes a job in itself. That's not what I wanted for myself, but that's what it became, and that's another reason that I decided to drop the entire thing, right? Along with the fact that I wasn't able to control myself and I got greedy and I wasn't able to stick to my freaking thing. So I was disciplined enough to step back when I realized that I was fucking up. Some people don't. Or here's the other thing. Some people get initial success, they get carried away, and they increase it, like they put in increasing amounts of money, or like, they make money for an extended time period, and then suddenly on one bad day they lose it all. So because of this, because I was trading with small amounts of money, I put in 10k, and that's all I decided to invest, use as my trading amount. The thing is, what they say is you trade with the amount that you're willing to lose. That was the amount that I was willing to lose at that particular time. So that's the amount I put into the stock market. I lost about 8k, 8.5k about of it, right? And the remaining I purchased a particular stock that I was interested in. That's what I did. And from that point on, I decided just to purchase stock or park my money in gold. I've been investing in mutual funds, right? This is because like I said, I shifted my focus. I didn't want to do trading anymore. I wanted to do more of investing. I'm looking at long-term gains, not thing. So I also wanted to focus on my main income source, which is like art, which to be fair is extremely not lucrative, by which I mean that, it's not something that I can focus on for daily bread, but it is something that I hope to get to a point where it becomes my daily bread provider, if that makes sense, right? So another reason that I quit trading was because I decided to spend more time on art, and that's what I did, and all of that, art studies, etc., etc. So I've rambled on and on for about nearly 20 minutes about trading and investing in the stock market. What is your takeaway from all of this, right? The point I'm trying to make is that if you're stepping into something, you don't have to do something perfectly, right? But step in with a decent amount of knowledge, right? And the other thing is that it always pays to know something about what you're doing, to track what you're doing, which is why I'm able to, no matter who asks me what I've made, what I've lost, I can tell them, straight up, this is what I've lost. Think, how much did you lose? Didn't you lose like 50,000 rupees? I'm like, no, dude, I lost 8.5k. I just invested 10,000. How can I lose 50 when I've only invested 8.5, right? You see my point, right? That's net, by the way, because on gross I've actually lost more. The reason being, like, I lost my initial, like, I made decent gains, and then I pissed away all those gains towards the end by doing piss poor freaking investment, no, not investment decisions, trading calls. So, I mean, to be fair, like, getting into trading really solidified my morning routine because I needed to be in front of the terminal by 9:15. So I'd have breakfast and all of that, and I'd be in front of my computer after doing my post food asanas, and I'd be in front of the computer. It really helped solidify my morning routine because if I was late, I wouldn't trade, so I had to be on time. That was like a thing. So it helped getting me more disciplined. It also taught me the real importance of being disciplined and sticking to a strat, right? So what is your takeaway from all of this? Study what you're doing. Don't be a dumbass. Don't be greedy. Trading is primarily about discipline and the power of compounding, because the small gains that you make on a daily basis just helps you get there, right? But yeah, dude, no, this isn't financial advice. This is just I don't know. I've said that like several times. But definitely use some of these principles. If you want some YouTubers that you can that some of the YouTubers that I followed, I will link them. All right. It's not their fault that I lost the money. When I followed his strat, this particular trader called Siddharth Manushali, I even signed up for one of his courses, and I did pretty well. But I didn't trade because at that point I was like, you know what, I'm done. But yeah, he always says this: it's not enough to study. You need to freaking implement this. And I didn't implement because at that point in time I decided that, you know what, I do not have the money. I do not have the money that I can afford to lose. I didn't want to, so I just focused on investing instead. Yeah, that's about it, dude. That's the whole thing. That's the way the cookie crumbles. To be fair, looking back, 2020, 21, and 22, particularly after the initial upset of COVID, or sometime, excuse me, March 2020, that would have been an ideal time to start investing. At least like to pick up stock, because a lot of the stock fell sharply, man. It was intense. It was insane. Stock just like crashed like mad because of the whole economic crisis that was affecting the entire world, because people weren't consuming enough, and we were all stuck at home because of COVID. But yeah, the time has passed. Buy the dip. That's actually pretty good advice. The interesting thing that I've noticed is that pretty much everybody has some sort of knowledge on buying shares these days, which is really cool because people are becoming more and more aware about this whole wealth building possible, like this entire world of wealth building. India wasn't particularly into all of this when we started out. Very few people hold shares. Very few people get into that. Pretty much everybody has gold. There's this joke that like the people that hold the most gold anywhere are the housewives of India, because pretty much everybody has gold here. They go for a wedding and they put on like 2-3 kgs of gold. I'm not even kidding about that. There's so much gold in the hands of like private players here. People love gold. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons that they haven't been investing in the stock market and so on and so forth. And they just choose to go ahead with fixed deposits and stuff. But now things like mutual funds are they're kind of picking up. Mutual funds, shares, stock, knowledge is picking up about all these different avenues, these investment avenues with, excuse me, higher returns. So, yeah, that's about it, dude. That's about it, Chief. I'm going to say thank you for the time. This was amazing. And I hope you learned something, as always. Take care of yourself. Don't be an idiot while trading. That's my final message to you. Learn. I've said this several times, but study what you're doing. Make sure you have basic knowledge about the area that you're going into, all right? And then practice and do it consistently, I guess. Like, like Naval Ravikant says, any path that you walk on long enough will end up on making you money. If you walk on it long enough, any skill over a long enough time frame will earn you money, right? Anyway, so that's about it for me. This is a very short podcast. This happened last second because I've been stuck, like I said, chaos, but things are improving, getting back to my old routine. And should take another couple of days. I've put the intention out there. I'm working on it. Let's see. Okay. So as always, if you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. I have the dislike button. I can see what you're doing. Let me know what you liked if you did like it, or what you didn't like if you didn't like it. Just like drop in there, leave a comment. And of course, if you're not subscribed, leave a like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell, boy. Cool. Take care. We will catch up next week. Ta-ta.